and I prayed about Spain, I really felt God telling me January. And that didn't really make sense to me. It was spring break my senior year, and here God was telling me to have faith that there would be an opportunity in January.
He would tell me specifically Spain, and like I didn't even know what to think about that. And he like texted me, he's like, dude, I was praying and the Lord is telling me the Lord is telling me you're supposed to go on this trip.
I felt God tell me or lead me to believe that my trip would be paid for. The day before I headed up to DC for the trip, I had raised probably $200. And so the next day when I see Nick, he's just like, hey, like, are we on the same page? Like, someone paid for you for this trip. It's like the gospel, like, you're freely given, you owe nothing.
Interesting because in San Sebastian, for so long, it was so corrupt, and there was so much like authority from the government, and they would try to control everyone and everything until when that government disappeared, all the people went to the opposite spectrum.
They're sick of religion, and I can't blame them. I was too. So a couple of the people that we've talked to are just like, yeah, I did the religious thing, and like, cause they had to like go to a Christian school or they've been to Catholic mass.
It really is evident in our the conversations that we had with our language partners and with just people that we've met, that like, even though they are free right now, they don't feel free. They're still searching for something more.
Yeah. And right after Nick shared his testimony, I was walking on the other side. This dude looks at me. He turned over and looked at me and he said, so like, what about you?
San Sebastian is a culture that really doesn't fake it. Either they're friends with you or they're not, and they're not gonna pretend to be friends with you.
Basically, we all got to share our testimonies with her, and she was just like, well, what does it mean when God like changes your heart? Like, when do you feel it? Like, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. It's not every day that someone like asks you about stuff and they're like totally taking it all in.
Yeah. It was also cool just being at a school in a different country and seeing what the dynamics were there. Still how children, no matter where you go, are the same. They still have the same heart and the same joy.
The word was like, man, people don't receive you very well with a lot of these things, and we've had to have just straight up Jesus conversations with a few people.
But God's just been allowing favor and moving people's hearts to provide opportunities for relationships where love is unconditional, where you just love people and people can tell it's different. People can tell that it's something bigger than you and that they want it.
It's just so cool to see that there's not many believers there, but the ones who do love the Lord, they love Him with all their heart, and they are praying for a Basque church.
The amount of coincidences that have occurred on this trip are not coincidences.
No.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful seeing what God does and how He leads us and how He fulfills His promises.
With God, He's just been teaching me so much, like probably like a year's worth of stuff.
It's been beautiful seeing seeds be planted and seeds by other trips continue to grow and be watered by the people that are being faithful and obedient.
So like really what the biggest thing He's doing for me is really in me, and He's just purifying me.
Man, I felt like I was flying like 30,000 feet above everything, just seeing all of these miracles that God was working in our hearts, in our whole team, in the people there, and then even back home.
The way that we act here shouldn't be different than the way that we act at home. Like, it should be the same. We should love people the same way. Our mission, our perspective should be the same when we go back home. Like, no matter where we go, this is what life should be.